trouble, though? Michael Cohen, the reason I want to talk to you today, because is he in trouble, really? Because this guy's been committing crimes basically for his entire adult life. His dad didn't pay taxes. He doesn't pay taxes. He defrauds the insurance companies of New York. He defrauds the taxpayers of New York. He defrauds the United States IRS. He literally appears to be a crime machine. And no one will stop him. No one can stop him. He could literally, at this point, I think he was right, he could shoot someone on Fifth Avenue in New York City, in the middle of the street, and no one would touch him. He's unbloody touchable. Please explain. You know the guy. How?
Yeah, I'm not so sure I agree with that statement. Yes, he's gotten away with so much already, from obstruction of justice, witness tampering, tax fraud, wire fraud, bank fraud, misrepresentations. He's gotten away with a litany of things. However, and this makes me scratch my head, the taking of classified documents, nuclear, top secret documents, should no longer be a Republican versus a Democratic issue. And I listen to all of the pundits on television, whether it's, this station, CNN, Fox, I listen to them all. This is an American issue, and I don't understand what we're doing. It's not a question of whether the law is being applied equally to all. It is not. For God's sakes, the DOJ, they're tiptoeing around Donald as if he was the king, right? The supreme leader or a monarch. And again, he is not. So like what you said before, if the adage that no one is above the law holds true, then Donald should have been indicted already and facing consequences. But I'll tell you what I do think is going to happen. I think that there's going to be an indictment, and relatively soon. I believe there will also be congressional hearings with Donald in the hot seat, where, either he'll come in willingly, which, I don't think he will, or via subpoena, where the real questions that they have to be asking right now is, where are the documents that were in these empty top secret files that were found at Mar-a-Lago? That's really the big question. And who did Donald give them to or show them to? Because like you've also said, and I've been saying it since day number one, Joy, Donald is a clear and present danger to the national security and safety of this country. And if this doesn't prove it, I'm not sure that anything will. So I agree with you, but I don't agree with you in the fact that he's not going to be held accountable for this. This is too big at this point in time.
Let me ask you this question, Michael, because we don't know. I don't know him personally, never met him. You know him. You've dealt with him for a very long time. Can you and I'm asking you to literally speculate, and I'm acknowledging that I'm asking you to do that. Why would he want to have the nuclear secrets of some country, ally, or enemy? Why would he want to have classified information? Why would he take the contents of classified folders out and put them God knows where? Why do you think that he wanted this stuff?
So this is all about power for Donald Trump. This is all about him still remaining relevant and exerting the power, whether it's going to be over the United States as extortion, that in the event you indict me or even members of my family, though he doesn't particularly care much about them, if you indict me and try to incarcerate, I have nuclear secrets that I have instructed some of my followers to turn over to our adversaries, right? That's what I believe. It's all about him maintaining power, but not just over this country, over foreign countries as well. And the dangerous part that we're all doing right now is creating these hypotheticals, right? Is the nuclear secrets Israel? And maybe he's given them to Mohammed bin Salman, and that's why they gave Jared Kushner $2.5 billion. You see, that's why we have the Presidential Records Act. That's why we have laws, so that we're not supposed to come up with these hypotheticals. We're supposed to know that these documents are in the possession of individuals who are supposed to have them in secured locations, not somewhere in his office at Mar-a-Lago where they have 1,000 members running around. You had Chinese individuals that were there in 2019 that weren't supposed to be there with thumb drives. It's not supposed to be happening. And everything Donald is doing is designed to disrupt.
Mark Palomaropoulos, you did this for a living. You were in this business. I'm not asking you to speculate about Donald Trump personally. You don't know him either. If this same situation were happening, and let's just say it was John Drumpf, it was not Donald Trump, what would be the thing that you would be the most concerned about an individual having these documents?
So, Joy, it's a great question because, there is certainly a double standard. There's an appearance of one. I think everyone recognizes that. Now, for a regular national security official, if you take these documents home, even inadvertently, you're in huge trouble. So the question is, why did he have them, number one, and, what was he going to do with them? And that motive is really important for the FBI to figure out. But let me just give you the day I walked out of the CIA when I retired. I had a small box. I had a couple, Persian rugs and some mementos from my time overseas, and that's all you take home. This is inconceivable what he had there, and in particular, if we were to believe the Washington Post reporting, these are really crown jewel type information that would probably land myself or any other senior executive in the national security establishment. Not only would we be fired, we'd probably go to jail for this, and so it's incredibly serious, and that's why I think that in my tribe. Those of us who really worked in national security for many years, we really need to see this through.
Very quickly before we go, Paul Butler, Reality Winner wanted to help. She was concerned about Russia's interference in the U.S. election. And so she made available some documents to The Intercept. She got locked up. OK, she spent, I think, at least 5 years in prison for that. And she was trying to help the United States. She had no intention of harming us. She tried to help us. And Donald Trump is still free as a bird. If this judge had not interceded, wouldn't the next step be to search Bedminster, to search Trump Tower, to search every bloody property that this man owns to see if there's more? And can they do that now that this judge, who's Donald Trump's judge and obviously his ally, has said stop the investigation?
They can. She said they can't use the information that was recovered in the search warrant for leads, but they can certainly continue the investigation and not just looking in his office. Remember, these documents were found in Trump's residence and even in a storage closet. So, Joy, that's shocking. It's scary, but it's also incriminating. DOJ typically doesn't prosecute cases that are only about retention of classified documents. The feds bring a case if there's some extra factor, like intentional mishandling or evidence of disloyalty to the United States or evidence of obstruction of justice. All of those factors should be of great concern to the former president.
I think the most important thing that was said here, and I think this panel, is that this is not a partisan issue. This is not an issue about Donald Trump being a Republican who bloody cares. This is an issue of our national security, and every single person watching this show, watching any network, should be concerned about it, not because it's not about Donald Trump. It's about our national security, and he ought to have at least give a damn about that if he's a American that cares about this country. Thank you, Michael Cohen. Thank you, Mark Polymeropoulos. Thank you, Paul Butler. Up next on The Readout, as the revelations about Trump's classified documents just get worse and worse and more terrifying, Republicans, with a tiny handful of exceptions, refuse to call him out. And later,